Seniza, hi.
Hello. Please, I hope you guys can see my screen. All right. So, uh,
Yes, sir.
okay. So, last week we we got to we discussed about variables and data types in C++ programming and how they help us to avoid repetition and easily refactoring our code. Uh, Today we are going to continue from that side. So today I'm going to use the code blocks. That's a bit different from the one we installed, the Dev C++, but almost the same thing. So for those of you who have been using the Dev C++, this the code blocks. Today I'm going to go by the code blocks. So just like in Dev C++, when I want to create a program, I go to File and then New and then Project. Then you give it the name. You select console application and you give it a name. So almost the same thing that I'll put in here. Before we proceed with today's lesson, we are going to have a quick recap of what we did the last time before that. So let's move forward. So today I'll be using this Dev C++, this code blocks over here. It's like, okay.
Yeah, Henry, just a reminder, try and do the recap from the beginning before you start today's lesson.
Yes.
A quick recap.
Uh,
And also others, most of them are using the dev
Okay, sir.
CPP. Yeah, so it's the same thing, but just let them know.
Okay, let me switch to the Dev C++. You see, the reason I
Yeah,
switched
if you
was
have that
because
one.
the Dev C++ was not allowing me to use the two-string. The two-string, I think it's in C++
Oh,
20, and this one, the C++ compiler it's using, or it's maybe old or something.
oh, oh, okay. So with that one, maybe you can switch between the code blocks for
Yes, but
that strings, and after that you go back to. Yeah.
okay, so a quick recap of what we did the last time. I think it was basically about variables and then how the variables and data types that we use in programming. And I made mention of I first wrote a program that displays something, a very short story. There was a man called, and then a particular name was hard coded over there, his age, and then he liked his name and then didn't like the age. So somewhere along the line, and we want to change the name of the character in our story, or we want to change the age, you have to go through everything one by one, line by line, to find the name of the person that we want to change, then change it. This is where variables come in handy. So variables, we just create a variable, a container basically in programming to store something, and then we use it wherever we want to use it. And if in case we want to change it, we just move to where we created that variable, or we can even change it somewhere along the program. And if we are making the program or the computer store something, we need to let the computer understand or know the amount of space to allocate for that variable or that component. So integer, there is a particular size of space or memory that integer holds. There is a particular size or space that should be allocated for a string and then for Boolean as well. So we talked about a few data types in Python. The most common ones, we have a string which refers to any series of characters. It can be alphabet, symbols, and all that. All closed inside a quotation mark. So in programming, we represent string inside quotation marks. It can contain letters, symbols, and then numbers as well. So if you see 90 in quotation marks, it's not a number, it's actually a string. Then we also talked of integer. Examples are age, something like age or number of books or something is going to be an integer, is a whole number, positive and negative whole numbers. So an example is 27 over here. Then we also talk about float. So float is anything that has that's a decimal, right? Any decimal that has lesser number of decimal places, basically. So we have two ways of representing decimals. We have the float and then double. For double, it has more decimal places. For float, it has very less decimal places after the floating point. So basically, that's it. So we also talked about Boolean. For Boolean, it's basically something that is true or false. So a Boolean can either be true or false. We use that in conditions, evaluation, and all that. So when we get there, we get to use more of the Boolean. But for now, we are going to ignore the Boolean. So to create a variable in C++, we go by the data type. You give it a variable name. It should be declarative. It should express what it is storing. And then you bring an equal sign, which is the assignment operator, and then the value for that variable. So for example, if we want to store character name, we first see the data type, which is string. Then we continue with the variable name, which is character name over here. We can go ahead and then make it CN, but CN it stands for character name although, but it's not all that easy to identify.
Henry,
Yes. Any question?
sorry, let me cut. Have you started recording?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, all right, continue.
All
Sorry.
right. So we give it the data type, the name of it, and then equals sign, and then the value. If it's a string, you put it inside quotation marks. It can be a double quote or a single quote, only that you have to be consistent. So if you are using a double quote, make sure you end it with a double quote as well. Then always you terminate your statement with a semicolon. You have either the camel case or the snake case. I also talked about this, and I think there is more. So the camel case is basically capitalizing every first letter in the variable's name. If it's like a sentence or something, for example, variable name, it contains a space. So in variable creation or the variable names, you can't leave a space inside. So you capitalize the first letter of every word, with the exception of the first one, which is the V here. Or you can also use the snake case by doing character name. You can just say character underscore name. So the snake case, you replace all the spaces with an underscore. Basically, that's it. So anytime you want to use the variable, you basically call the variable's name. For example, character H over here. Inside your program, you just call character H, and that's it. So I think basically that's what we were able to cover last week. And I gave this assignment where you were to write a program to ask, I think the program was to ask the user for their name, display something like they are welcome to your app or something, and then write a program, continue with asking them a number, two numbers, and then displaying them. Or okay, so I think it was a program to display two numbers, to display the sum of two numbers. So we first create a variable, first variable int num1, and then int num2 over here, and then you write int results, and then you calculate the results based on the values that you got for num1 and num2. So we also talked about the CE. Okay, so I'm going to quickly rush through the solution, then we proceed with today's. I'm going to create a new program, go to file, new, and then projects. Okay, so this is a new project, and so it's the basic skeleton.
Yeah, Albert, your hand is up. Hello, Albert.
Okay, so please, I want to know how to. I just came. I want to go through how to start the code blocks. Yes, yes, please. I just joined the meet and I want to know how to start with the meet and what do you call it, the code blocks. I want you to help me to start with it because I just launched the application. Hi. Yes, please. Hello, boss.
Hello.
Yeah, boss.
Yeah, please. What were you saying?
Please, I just joined the meet and I don't know how to go about with the code blocks. So I want you to go through again how to start and open to where you are right now.
Okay, so currently I'm using Dev C++. Is it the one you are having, or you are using code blocks? Hello. Hello.
Okay. Network. My network.
Oh, is he off? Hello. Naki. Naki.
Yeah, yeah, Henry.
Please, is the person on the line?
Yeah, I can see he's on the line, but I don't know, maybe his network or
Okay. Maybe once he's back, then you alert me so that we create a new project again.
in code blocks.
So a quick one, let's continue with this one. So the assignment was a program to ask the user for two numbers and then display their sum. So since we are going to ask the user for two numbers, I talked about variable declaration and then initializing the variable. So we can decide to declare a variable without actually giving it a value. So if we are going to ask for two numbers, then we are going to store it. We have to store it in order to use it later in our program. So we can go ahead and then create a variable by saying the variable type and then the data, the variable name. So I'm going to call this number one like this, and then just terminate it with a semicolon here. And then I'm going to create another variable to int number two like this. So after asking the user for the two numbers, we are going to find their result. You can go ahead and then create the result variable over here as well, or we can just skip it. When we are ready to use it, then we create it. So the first thing is to ask the user for two numbers. Anytime you you want to ask something or you want to get information, you first ask for the information before you are giving the response. So in that case, how do we display something in C++? We go to the namespace std. We have already declared that we are using that already. So you just go ahead and then just say cout and then whatever you want to display next to this. So you can just say enter first number. Like that. And then you go ahead and then bring your semicolon here. So that's going to display this. And since we are not having the end L attached to this, it's not going to move to the next line. It's going to stay there until the user provides a value before. Then we take that number. So we just write C in. C in is for console in. It's used for reading whatever the user will type. And then you bring two signs like this, and then number one into number one. Alright. Now, after getting it into number one, we can do the same thing for number two as well. You just copy it, paste it. Just copy and then you paste it again. After pasting it, you can just change this to enter second number like that, and then you store it inside number two. So at this point, if we run our program, it's going to ask for this, and then it's also going to ask for this. So if I go ahead and use the build and run, let me just save this. It's what we mean. Okay, so it's asking me, the program is asking me to enter the first number. Let's say I write 45 and then I write 3 over here. Then the program ends. It doesn't do anything else. So if we wanted to get the result, then we create a new variable over here, also an integer. So I'm going to say result is equal to the first number, that's number one, plus number two. So if you didn't save your number, use the variable number one, we have to update this one as well. So now result over here gets a value, and we can go ahead and then use cout and then the sum of then we add the number one and number two is, and then we add the results that we got over the result. Then I can go ahead and then end that line. So now the program should be working perfectly fine. If I provide the first number as 45 and the second number as 4, we get the sum of 45 and 4 is 49. When we change the numbers as well, it's still going to be able to calculate it perfectly. So today we are going to move on to a new topic. But before we proceed, is anyone having a question on this program? If you have any question, you don't understand any line of code, let's deal with it before we move on to today's topic, which is the control statements, where you make your program intelligent enough, artificially intelligent, to take decisions on it. All right. So if anyone has a question, just raise up your hand and let me know.
please ask questions. Ask questions. Even if you are
I
new
have a
here,
question.
ask questions. All
All
right.
right.
All right, so Henry, when you were declaring the variable, the int number one, you see,
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask if you leave a space between the number and then the one, will it still function, or
Okay.
it's like
Yeah, I get you. Okay, so if you leave a space here, it's not going to function. I discussed last week the rules on naming a variable. So you don't just get up. You are free to choose any name for your variable, but we have a few rules that you have to follow. And one of them is you can't leave a space inside your variable. That's where I talked about the camel case and then the snake case. So in the snake case, to avoid confusion, you just replace all the spaces with an underscore, or you use the camel case where you capitalize every word in your variable's name except the first one. So in this case, I'm using the camel case here where I replace all the I didn't bring the spaces and I changed the capital letter of the one that word inside. Please, is it clear?
yeah, it's clear.
All right, thank you very much. Please, is there any other? Hello. Okay, so if there is no other question, then we'll proceed to today's own. So I'm going to go to file. The guy who was asking how to use the application. You go to file, new, and then project. Then you create a new project. Make sure you select console application and then continue.
Yeah, I think that guy was using code blocks. That's why.
Ah, okay,
So
okay. Well,
for
it's very
yeah, for
similar to
this
this one.
program,
Very straightforward.
yeah, yeah. Even for this program to go on smoothly so that we all flow along peacefully, I think we should all switch to Dev C++ because we are all using Dev C++. And
Okay,
later,
so
if you want to explore code blocks, that one too is cool.
sure, thank you. So today, we are going to look at conditional statements, how to make your program be smart enough to make some decisions on its own. But before we can move to that side, we first have to understand a few operators in your programming. Like I said, computers, they don't really know anything. They just know some numbers, they know plus, minus, multiplication, and then division. And then we have the remainder or the modulus, and then just a few keywords that's inside the programming language. So anytime you write something else, for example, I write num1 here, I need to make sure that I teach the program that num1 is this. So I can just say int num1, then the computer knows that, okay, num1 is a variable before I use it. So anytime you are using any word in your program, you need to make sure that it's either a built-in function or it's something that you created and you have already made the computer aware. So arithmetic operators, we have a few operators in programming that we use for basic calculations and all that. So one of these is the addition, we have the subtraction, multiplication, and the division, and then the modulus. So in programming, if I have, let's say, I have two numbers right there, let's say int num1, let's say num1 is equal to 50, and then I have int num2 to be equal to, let's say, 5, then I can go ahead and perform some operations on this number over here. So anytime you write a statement contains operators and operands. So I can just say num1 plus num2, num3 here. num1 plus num3 here is actually just if I add something like result here, int result is equal to num1 plus num3. This is a complete statement in C++, and it consists of operators and operands. Here, this is an operator. This is an assignment operator. This is also an operator. This is the addition operator. It basically means adding something to something else. And these are arithmetic operators, this plus over here. So it helps us to add two numbers. You have um, the subtraction tool. So and just let me just display the result here. So just going to say C out. Okay, so I'm having plus operator, which is for addition. You have the subtraction, which is minus. That one, I think everyone's aware. We also have the multiplication. In programming, we use star for the multiplication, so because we can't really type the multiplication sign that we see in that we write in our books, right? So we also have the division symbol too. With division too, it's the forward slash. Then I'll add this last arithmetic operator. Sometimes it comes in very handy. That's the remainder or the modulo. The modulo operator is also an arithmetic operator, and that's basically the percentage symbol. So it's going to divide num1 by num2 repeatedly until it gets a remainder. So basically that's it. So if I run this program, C out plus 2. I'm having a little error over here. Okay, I'm not having C out in this scope. Oh, I see. So I forgot to write the using namespace std using namespace std like that, and go ahead and run the program. Okay, so we got to see the addition result was 55. There's 45 for subtraction. The multiplication is 250. Division is 10. 50 divided by 5 is 10. Perfect. And the remainder is 0. Repeatedly dividing 50 by 5, you get remainder 0. So that's basically arithmetic operators. So the computer already understands them. You don't have to explain what minus is doing, what star is doing, division, and then the modulo symbol, the percentage over here. So that's it. Now I'll go to the comparison operators as well before we start if else or the conditional statement. So I'll comment out this. So commenting, as you guys know, is basically writing a program somewhere that you don't want the computer to execute, right? So we are done with the arithmetic operators. I'll go down here, and then I'm also going to talk about the comparison operators here. Yes, any question? Is someone's hand up? Is someone's hand up?
Yeah, my hand is up.
Okay, let's hear you.
So please, since I'm a fresher, I don't know how to comment. Can you please show me how to comment?
Oh, okay. But you understand the comment, the concepts, the comment itself, the reason behind
Uh,
it.
I Where you
Not
did it,
really.
I saw it.
Is a like I'm asking you
I'm
know
saying,
what a comment is in programming, or
and
I
I'm
should take it
saying
from
that
there? Should I take
I'm
it
saying
from
that
what?
you commented some things there, right?
Yes, yes, please.
So as you did that, I understood it. But then I want you to show me how to comment.
All right, all right. So writing a comment means the computer should ignore that line. Perfect. So basically, if you want to do that, you just write two double slashes and then you write whatever you want it to ignore. Assuming I have this program, this over here, hello world over here, and I don't want the program to execute, I can just turn it to a comment by writing two forward slashes over here. Then it becomes a comment, so the computer is going to skip it. Or you can use the shortcut. So basically what I did was I used the shortcut in Dev C++. As for shortcuts, it varies across programs. So you can basically use the control and then the forward slash, control plus the forward slash. You press the forward slash while your hand is already on the control. So basically it's going to, you just select all of them, then you press the control plus forward slash and it's going to comment it out like what you just, what I just did here. So I can select all of them and uncomment it again by using the control and then the forward slash, then all the comments will go away. Which I hope it's clear now.
Yeah, I am okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So back to our comparison operators. So comparison operators are basically operators that return either true or false. True is 1, false is 0 in programming or in computing. So they are going to help you to know whether a particular expression is true or false. For example, if I type something like 5 greater than 4, this over here is an expression. 5 is greater than 4. So this greater than over here in between them is helping us to compare the 5 to 4 to get a result, which is a Boolean. So I said we will talk more about Boolean later. Boolean is either true or false. So anytime we write a comparison, an expression like this, it boils down to either a true or a false. For example, in program, let's say I have integer x is equal to 5, so x is an integer, and I have integer y is also equal to 10 here. I can make comparison between these two by just saying, let me display the result as so I'm doing something like x equal to y. These two equal signs basically is the equality check operator. So it's going to check if x here is the same as y. So if I run it, I expect to get false. Okay, so you see 0 over here. That's another representation of false. So 0 is false is 0 and true is 1. So if here was also supposed to was it happened that here is also 10, then it's going to give me 1 because x is equal to the x is equal to y. So these two variables are the same. Basically, that's it. We can also use the comparison operators like the the greater than equal to and like that. So I'm going to change this one to the greater than, the less than, this to greater than, and then the last one that I'm going to add is not equal to. So this is the equality check. We use two or double equal signs. Equals equals. So x equals y is read x is equal to y. So it's either true or false. So if here is to be 5, then this is going to evaluate to false. X is less than y. This one is also going to evaluate down to x is less than y. Obviously, 5 is less than 10. So this is going to be true. X is greater than y. This is going to be false because 5 is not greater than 10. Then we also have x is not equal to y. It's going to check if x 5 here is not equal to 10. So is 5 not equal to 10? The answer is true, but 5 is not equal to 10. And with the exception of this, we also have combinations of both, where we have greater than or equal to, and then less than or equal to. So in that case, you just add equal sign in front of this. So x is less than or equal to this one, to x is greater than equal. So basically, this one is going to work such that either x is less than y or x is equal to y. Both of them are going to return true in this case. So with this one, you get to see that x is not equal to 10. X is not equal to 10 here, but x is less than 10. So it's going to be true for this one. So this is just to get you a few stuffs where, because we are going to use them a lot in the conditional statements, where when we learn the if-else statements. Anytime we write an if statement, we give it a condition to evaluate to either true or false. With the exception of this, so I've talked of the arithmetic operators. We just talked about the comparison operators. I just commented these lines with control and then /. So when we go to other IDs as well, like VS Code, it also comments out with control plus /. So if it's C++, it's Python, whatever language, Java, JavaScript, whatever language you are writing VS Code, once you use the shortcut control plus /, please, the control plus, it doesn't mean you will press on plus as well. It's just control. While your hand is on the control, your finger is on the control, you press the / also. So the next one that I'm going to talk about is the logical operators. That's very straightforward before we move on to if-else statements. So we have very few logical operators. I think I'm going to talk about 2 or 3 here. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the AND logical operators. The AND logical operator basically checks to, or it expects both sides of it to be true, for it to be true. So if I say, let's say, int x is equal to 5, and then int y is also equal to 10, then I write something like, I write something like C out x is greater than 18. Let's say x is greater than 8 here. If I write x is greater than 8, then this is going to be false. Okay, let me take it down a little. So the AND logical operator basically it checks for 2 conditions. So we can have a condition where we can just say x is less than, let's say x is less than y. So x is less than y over here is going to check whether 5 is less than 10, and that is true. But let's say we want to check 2 things, and we expect both of them to be true before our program proceed. So after this, we just say and then we can also say x is not equal to, let's say, y. So basically, I'm checking if x is less than y. I want x to be less than y, and I also want x not to be equal to y. Obviously, if x is not less than y, it's not going to be equal to y as well. But just for illustration purpose here, so we want a situation where x is not equal to y and x is not y as well. In that case, we put the logical operator AND over here, and in C++, instead of writing AND, we write 2 and the ampersand symbol like this, 2 of them. You don't write 1. It's supposed to be 2. In real world, an example is, let's say you are creating a game, and then the person is having lives here, a variable called lives. And lives is equal to, let's say the lives is equal to 10. 3 lives. The player is having 3 lives. And we also expect the player to be to be having something else. Let's say the player, the level of the player. Let's say we check the level of the player as well. So int level is equal to 1. So we want to check if, let's say, a player crashes, there is a crash, and we first want to check if the player is a level 1 player. We don't want to, if it's a level 1 player, we want to reduce the lives of the user if they have more lives. So here we just write something like level is equal to level equals 1. So this is going to check if level is the same as 1. And then, so you bring an and symbol, and lives is greater than 0. So that checks to see if the lives is greater than 0, and then the level is also 1. So in case the level is not 1, this is going to evaluate to false. So anytime we use the and symbol or the and logical operator, we expect both sides of the and to be true. If both sides are not true, it's going to be false, basically. So once one of them is false, all of them are false, basically. So basically that's it. Now the next one is okay. The next one is the not logical operator. Okay, let me first talk of the or logical operator. The or logical operator, we use 2 pipes. So actually, I don't know why it's called pipe, but it's a vertical bar. It's a vertical symbol on your keyboard. So if you can find it, it's vertical. It's not slanted. This is a comment. That's why it's a bit slanted. Basically, this is how it is. So if we have something like age, and let's say we have a variable called int age, and that's the age of someone is equal to 20. And then we want to, let's say, check whether the age is greater than 80 or the age is less than, let's say, 5. So maybe we are doing a promotion where we only give it to people who are less than 5 years old or people who are greater than 5 years old. So in that case, we say something like age is less than 5, or, so the or, we use this pipe over here, or the age is greater than 18. So basically this is going to check if age is less than 5 or age is greater than 18. With or, if you are using the or logical operator, basically you expect one of the conditions to be true. So either age is less than 5 or age is greater than 5. In any case, it's going to evaluate to true, right? So this over here is going to evaluate to true. But once I bring an and over here, if I bring and over here with like this is going to be false. So if I go ahead and then do C out here, let me put this inside. So it's going to see out this, and if I run this, you get to see that it's going to say it is false. The answer is false over here. Why? Because the age is not less than 5. If it's going to be true, then it means this side, both this side and this side should be true. But when we use or, only one of them is going to be true. Which means that the age is greater than 18 is true. This is false, this is true. So it's going to boil down to true. So anytime you use or, make sure, just know that once one side is true, the whole statement becomes true. When you use and, both statements or both sides should be true for the thing to be true. Then the last one I'm going to talk about is the not logical operator. So let me comment out this. Uh, the not logical operator. So basically, the not logical operator is the exclamation mark. So if I say something like age is not, if I do something like not age. So for example, let's say this one usually we use it with boolean. So assuming I have a boolean here called is male. So I'll just say bool is male is equal to true. And I'm writing a program that checks whether the user is not a male. In that case, I need to make sure that the user is not a male. So I'm just going to say C out, and then I'll bring this one, this exclamation mark over here is male. So not is male means that if the person is not male, then definitely they are female. So I want the program to only allow females to access the program. So I just use this not symbol over here to negate. It's going to negate whatever is being stored over here. So if it's male is true, then not is male means it should be false. Right, so it's going to negate it. Basically, that's it. So not reverses the result or checks at least one of them is true, and logical operator should it checks that both statements are true. So now let's get to the actual deal for today. Now we know logical operators, the comparison operators, and the arithmetic operators. I'm going to clear off this. Then we go to today's what we are supposed to do today, which is the conditional statement. Please, if anyone is having a question, kindly raise up your hand so that I will be alerted by the organizers. Okay, so
All the hands are down. Yeah, Henry.
yes,
Yeah. Um, all the hands are down, but I just want to say this, please. You need to follow along. So when you are joining this meeting every Wednesday, time like this, you need to make sure that your machine is up and you have the software to do the follow along, so that if you are facing any issue, you just raise up your hand. Don't just come and listen to it, because if you just join the call to listen to whatever the facilitator is saying, when you go home or after here, you will not practice. We are all students, right? You even forget.
sure,
So
sure.
please always come along with your guests and follow along. If you have any question, try something. If you get an error, just prompt the facilitator, right? So that we get it fixed. Because in the classroom, you not get one-on-one tutorial or one-on-one explanation like this. All right, thank you.
Sure,
And we
sure.
can continue.
All right, thank you very much. So, guys, if you have any question, make sure you put up your hand and ask. And next time, make sure you try and then also on your machine so that you can be trying it out while we are doing it here. But this is actually supposed to be hands-on practical workshop. You guys had to be doing everything. We are making it online. We, So we doing it online doesn't mean you don't have to practice it. You are also supposed to on your machines and also do same. So in
So
basically
I think one of these days we need to like, yeah, Henry, can you hear me?
yes, yes. Is that one of
Yes,
these
maybe
days?
next week or yeah, any other day, we need to like invite one of them to share their screen, right?
Sure,
So
sure.
that
Yes,
we know
yes.
what's going on.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
if there's any mistake, we all fix it
yes.
together.
Mm. So basically Conditional statement, they are statements that we write in our program to make them become a little smarter, to make decisions on their own. So we have a few keywords that help us to do this thing. So let's say we are creating a program where we don't want users who are less than 18 years to enter the site. Let's say it's a website or it's an application, and uh, let's say it's a bank account or bank application, and we don't want users who are less than 18 years to create an account on the system. In that case, we need to create a variable that is going to store the age of the user, and we compare it to 18. And then based on that comparison, you get to see what we are going to do. So basically, this is where if statements come in program. So the conditional statement we are looking currently is if statement. And if statement is the statement that runs. It's basically we check a condition. If it's true, then the code block is going to run. Here is the syntax of the if statement. So we write an if if like this. We bring an open and closing curly bracket, open and closing bracket, and then an open and closing curly bracket as well. And inside this bracket over here, you add your condition here. So the condition is basically what you want to evaluate to true or false. So everything you write over here should boil down, evaluate to either a true or false value. Then depending on that true or false, whatever you write here runs code to run. So let's say I have a variable called age here. So I'm going to say int age is equal to let me just say 10 here. So the age is 10, and we are writing an if statement over here. So if, and then the condition here is we want the age to be greater than 18. So age is greater than or equal to 18. This is going to check is the age greater than or equal to 18. If it's true, then it's going to run whatever code that I write here. So I'm just going to say age is allowed or something. So basically, if I run this program, you get to see nothing was printed over here, but the program actually returns 0, like we saw on the screen. It returns 0. Right, so program exited after 0.1225 seconds with return value 0. So it returned with 0, which means it's executed perfectly. As here is the case, it didn't explain this line or display this line because this if statement, the condition here evaluated to false, and by so doing, or in that case, this if or the code to run here is not going to run. If I change this age here to, let's say, 24, and then I run it, you get to see that the console actually displayed the age is allowed here. So basically, that's it. Now, what happens in case this age is not equal to 18? So let's say if the age is not greater than or equal to 18, we want to display something to the user. So that in that case, we bring an else statement over here. So down after the opening and closing curly brackets, we bring else here, and then this opening and closing curly bracket again. So whatever you write here is code to run if false, if condition is false. So if this condition here is true, this code is going to run. And then if the condition was false, this code is also going to run. So I can go ahead and see out display you are not qualified. You are allowed, here I can say you are allowed to create accounts. So let's run this again and let's see. Okay, I was expecting I had to terminate the line with a semicolon here. Okay, so it says age is allowed to create account because the age is 24. Let's say I make it, let's say 10 years old, then I expect the else part of the if statement or if condition here to run. So it says you are not qualified. You can make our program even more dynamic by asking the user to input their age. So I'm only declaring this. I'm not going to give it a value. Then just above the program, I'm going to ask them to input the value. So I'm going to use the cin, which is also from the std space. So cin, and then this bracket, angle bracket. This time is going inside the age variable. So look at the direction of the greater than symbol. So this is a greater than, and C out uses a less than as the stream insertion. So this is the stream insertion operator, and this is the stream extraction operator. It extracts into H basically. So now if I run it, I have the opportunity to input H, but it's not showing anything because we didn't display anything at the top here. So I can see out, just say enter your age, and then something like this. So enter your age is going to wait until I enter something. Then depending on the age that I entered, the program is going to be smart enough either to allow me or not allow me. So if I enter 12, it says I'm not qualified. I'm going to run it again to check the else part, so the true part. So if I enter 25, it says I'm allowed to create the account. So basically that's about if statements. So we use if statements wherever we want to check for a specific condition to do something if that condition is true. Assuming that condition has an opposite outcome, then we go ahead and then add the else statement. So that's the if else. So we have the if statement or the if block of code. We also have the if else block of code. Then we also have something we call the the else if, right? So we can have another condition over here. But before we go to the else if, I want to add this one where we have the nested if statement. So with a nested if statement, it's very similar to writing an else if. Else if basically means you write an if statement and then you write another another if statement after it. So let me add them together here. So assuming this one, we are checking if the age is less than 18. Let's say we first want to check if the age is, if the age is greater than or equal to, let's say 30, then we can say you are an adult. You are an adult. And what if the age is between 18 and then 30? Let me just use 24 right here. Okay, so if the age is between let's say 18 and then 24, in that case, instead of writing the else directly, I'm going to write else if, and then I bring the condition. So the condition is going to be age is greater than the age is greater than 18. So if the age is not greater than 24, then it's less than 24. And this one is going to check if age is greater than or equal to 80. In that case, what we want to do, then we also bring another curly bracket. So the formula is if, then this code, if it's true, then if this is not true, it moves on to this else if part. And if this is true, whatever we write here is going to execute. So I can just say you are, I don't really know the adolescent age. I just say you are an adolescent here. The age range for adolescents. Go ahead and end line. So the last one is going to say you are an infant or something. You are a child. Okay, so here, if the age is greater than or equal to 24, we say you are an adult. Else, that's if this one does not run, this one is not true, and it's going to check if this is true. In case this one is true, then the program is going to stop. It's not going to check for these ones once this if statement here is true. So put that in mind. So basically, that's how it works. And with the exception of doing it, okay, let me run this first. Then we get to see how it is. So if I enter an age between 24 and 18, like 20 here, if I put 20 here and I run it, you get to see it says you are an adolescent. Why? Because 20 is between 20 is not greater than 24. So this if statement is not going to run. Then it checks the else if here and it gets to see that it false. This one becomes true and then it displays you are an adolescent. Basically, that's how else if and else statements work. You can have other else if statements in between this, or you can also use the nested if statement here. So I'm going to comment this out and then talk about the nested if statements too. So we are done with the if, else if, and then the else statement. This is nested if statement, nested ifs, right? So we can have a variable like, let's say, int score, the score of a user, and we let them enter a score. And based on the score, we are going to check if they got more than 50, it means they passed. But if they got 80, we want to tell them excellent. And if they didn't get to 50, we are going to display they failed. So we are going to first ask the user to enter their score. So see out, enter your score. And then, yeah, just like this. So that's going to display enter your score. And then we do see in to receive the score. So see in score. Whatever they enter, we put it inside the score. Now, the next thing is to check if, having an if statement over here, if the score is less than or is greater than or equal to 50. So if the score is greater than or equal to 50, it means they passed, right? So I can just say, see out, you passed, because they got more than 50 or equal to 50. And I can have the else statement here where they failed. So if they failed, I'm just going to say, see out, you failed. Display, you failed. And then go ahead and end line. So this is going to display you passed. This is going to display you failed. Assuming after checking that, so first let's check this to see everything works fine. Okay, enter your score. I enter something like 60 and it says I passed. That's perfect. And let me test the fail too. So I enter 35 and it says I failed. So it's working perfectly. So let's say the one who got more than 80, we want to tell them that they really did very, very well. We give them excellent. And with the other one, we just say good or something. So you can write another if statement inside this if statement over here. That's what we call the nested if. Nested if is putting another if statement inside an existing if statement here. So if score is greater than or equal to, let's say, 80, then we want to tell them, so see out you this excellent performance, something like that. Excellent. And what happens if their score is less than? So that will become the else part over here. In fact, you can also add an else if over here if you are checking between 60 and then 80. So I'll go ahead and then over here I'll just say see out and then I'll just say create performance. And line here. So if I go ahead and then run this program, and then I run this program, it says I should enter my score. So I'm going to enter something like 20, and this one is a fail. Perfect. Then let's go with another one where we pass. So I'm going to pass with a mark of 68, and it says I passed, and then it only added great performance. So the nested if here, that one was the great performance. Why? Because score is not equal to 80. It's not greater than or equal to 80. If I also input something that's more than 80, for example, 96, and it's going to say you passed, excellent performance. So it's really, really amazing. With this, you can also create other applications that uses this if statement here. So this one, I used an if statement to evaluate whether someone passed the program or not. I'm going to comment this out, and I'm going to give 2 or more examples on how we use if statements in real world applications. Then basically we are going to close off this session. So notice that I have a whole lot of comments down here. They are not going to run because comments are skipped when the compiler is compiling the code or the CPU is executing the program. One very common use of if statement is is using it to check whether a number is even or odd. So we can just write something like int number to check or something. It's a variable name, so anything you use, it doesn't really matter. It should be expressing what it's going to store. And I'm going to say see out, enter a number. So we let the user enter a number, and based on the number that they enter, we are going to tell them whether it's an even number or odd number. So I have to see in and then extract it into number to check. So these 3 lines are taking the input and storing it inside the number to check. And you can have an if statement here, let's say if, and then your condition over here. So the thing is, what you are going to do, you are going to use the arithmetic operator, the modulo operator. So if number to check mod 2. So for an even number, every even number is divisible by 0. Once we repeatedly divide an even number by 2, the answer we expect is 0. So basically that's what I've written in programming. The number to check repeatedly divided by 2, and the remainder is 0. Basically it means the number is an even number. So I'll just say even number here is even number. Else, so the else part is going to run. So the else part is going to run if the number is not an even number. In other words, if we divided the number to check by 2 repeatedly and the remainder was 1. So in that case, we just say see out odd number like this, and then we stop it. So if I test this program, I expect everything to work. Okay, else. This is else. So make sure you spell it well. This else here. Okay, so it's asking me to enter a number. Let's say I write 45, and it says 45 is an odd number. Let me run it again and then input a number that's even. So an example is 34, and then you see it says even number over here. So that's one of sometimes where we use if statements to check for even and then odd. I'm going to comment this out as well. And the next example I'm going to use is a very simple calculator. So with this simple calculator, we are going to allow the user to input whether they want addition, subtraction, or whatever answer that they want. So we let them input two numbers. I'll just say int num1 and then num2. So anytime you see someone write this in C++, it means the person is declaring two variables on the same line. And we can do so because the data type is the same. So this saves you from writing int num1, and then coming to write int again, int num2 like this. So I'm just writing both of them on the same line. Since the data type is the same, I just put a comma over here. So basically that's it. So in case you see it somewhere, just know that's what it actually means. So if you are creating a program where the user can input two numbers and choose whether they are going to add, subtract, or whatever, then we need another variable which is going to store whatever they type. So this one is going to be a character, but for now, let's just use integer for that. So I'm just going to say int, or let me just use option. So I'm going to say string option here, and we don't know the value for option yet. So depending on what the user will type, then we know what to do the two numbers. So we first ask them to enter the two numbers. So I'm going to say cout. So cout is going to display enter number 1, or enter first number. I think this one is better. Enter first number. And then we wait for them to enter a number and collect it with the cin into the num1 like this. And I'm going to copy and paste for a second number to here. So enter second, and then we save it inside num2. Then we go ahead and then ask them to enter an operator. So we just say cout select operator. And with a select operator over here, 1 for add, 2 for subtract, 3 for, let's say, divide, and then 4 for multiply. So if we display this, okay, so with this, we can go ahead and then ask for the whatever number that they enter, and then we put it inside the operator or the option here, option, like that. Now, depending on the option that they chose, we are going to know what to do. So we can write an if statement here that if the option is equal to 1, this is a string 1. That's a 1 in quotation mark, since our option value is a string. So if it's 1, we know that they want to add. So we just write cout, and then we can just say, let me first display the num1, and then the what they selected. So now 1 will be plus, and then bring an equal sign. Here it's going to num2. So it will be num1 plus num2 is equal to, and then we display the value of num1 plus num2 like that, and line. So it's going to be similar like this with the else part. So we write else. Hello. Are you guys seeing my screen? Are you guys seeing my screen? Okay. So else, we bring an else if here. So else if the option, which means that it's only going to run if this is false. So if this is false, I'm going to check if the option is 2. So if the person selected 2, then probably they want to do subtraction. So we subtract and then display the result. So this will be minus, and here the minus arithmetic operator. Then I'm going to copy and paste for the rest of the other ones. So else if the operator is 3, then we are going to divide, because 3 is for divide, and then we show the division of num1 divided by num2. And then the last one is 4. So with this one, I'm supposed to use an else statement, but there can also be an instance where the input was not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in that case, it will go into the else part of our if statement. So else, we are just going to see out invalid option. So now this program is complete to be run. Can go ahead and run it. Okay, semicolon expected. So always remember to terminate your lines with semicolon. Okay, so I should enter first number, let's say 12, second number is 10. And I go ahead to select 1 here, and it says 12 plus 22 plus 10 is 22. But this, let's make it a little more friendly by bringing and adding a new line. We can write a new line inside strings by doing \n. So I can just say \n. It's going to take it to the next line, \n. So anytime you see \n inside a string, it's just basically taking it to the next line, \n. All right. So let's go ahead and then test for the other else if options. So if I select 4, 10, and then I should select operator, let's say I select 2, it's going to subtract, so you get 12 minus 10 to be equal to 2 here. All right, so basically, we can also go ahead and test for the rest as well. I think we have covered a whole lot today. We have talked about the arithmetic operators, we have talked about the logical operators, and we also talked about the comparison operators as well. Then we started with conditional statements, if, else, if, and then else statements. So I'm going to end here, and before I accept any questions, let me quickly give out the assignments, then we can go on. So today's assignment, you are going to write a program that takes a number and then print whether the number is positive or negative, depending on whatever the user provided. So basically, it's very, very simple. Whether the number is a negative number or it's a positive number. All right. So I'm going to end here, and if anyone has question, any addition, any question, let's get to it. All right. Thank you very much.
Mama, I saw him.